Shalom, y'all. Shalom, shalom, shalom. I'm Michael Israel. You are watching Spiritual Combat, and we are continuing our Straitway Life series. This is episode number 5, and we have Pastor Cory. He's the head of Straitway KC, or Kansas City, or Straitway, Kansas, whatever you want to call it. And Pastor Cory, I want to welcome you on the show, welcome you to the series, and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come on here and bless the saints. So I'm going to hand it over to you to just greet the viewers, and then we're going to get started with things. So shalom, Pastor
Absolutely.
Cory.
Shalom, shalom, brother Michael Israel. Bless you well. Bless all the saints there, Straitway, Florida. Praise the Most High Yah for our shepherd, Pastor Charles Dow, who has just led a dynamic charge of men and the whole of Israel alike coming back together to make sure that we are on target to serve the Most High Yah in this day, and to be able to share a platform like this about community, because it's important to come out of her, my people, and be ye separate. And that's what literally is taking place. So bless you all, Israel, and get ready for an exciting show here today with Brother Mike Israel.
All right, y'all. So uh, we're gonna get right into things. I definitely have a lot of questions for Pastor Cory, and I know this interview is going to be very edifying. But Pastor Cory, if you can first, just talk about how you came into the truth, how you came in the straight way, if you could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mike, we had been, in short, we had been going through this whole uh, church deal. I call myself getting back in church, just looking to have my life changed around, and church wasn't working. And so just one day, man, the Most High showed us that we were supposed to be keeping the Sabbath. And in short, after praying and going through a lot of different things, that story is really dynamic in itself, but I don't want to waste a lot of time on it. We found out we were supposed to be keeping the Sabbath, and we ended up looking to see who else was doing this, who else was keeping Sabbath. And Gabby came across this crazy, big-eyed man that was pointing at the screen and looking into the screen and basically calling people out. So I'm like, no, who is this? You know what I mean? I said, I'm gonna look at this, and I'm gonna tell you whether or not we're gonna deal with this. So I end up watching this Sabbath series that she found, and Brother Mike, I stayed up the whole night. I took notes on every video, and I couldn't find nothing. When she woke up in the morning, I said, "This it, this it." So, and that was way back in 2011, Mike, and haven't looked back, man. I love everything we got going on. The love, the rebuke, the counsels, the strengthening, and the standard. That's what it is. So, hallelujah.
That's good. That's good. So after you came in, you what how'd you progress in the ministry? What led to how'd you end up establishing Straitway KC, and talk a little bit about where y'all are at right now? Good.
Okay, well, uh, in 2011 when we came, um, we had saw something that back in 2008, actually me and uh, Sister Gabby, we started trying to hold Bible studies for, track athletes and students that I coached and things, because though I didn't have the true knowledge of what exactly was going on, and I know we were more so on the side of New World Order and the Bilderbergs and all of that type of deal. And so, with that being said, uh, we was having Bible studies. And so when we found out the truth, we started telling people about it. And when we found Pastor Dow, we telling people about it. But then it was like people didn't want to hear all that yelling. They didn't agree with all of that, you know. So slowly but surely, people started um coming that did identify with being Israelites. They did um see that we were sincere about it. And so it started growing back in 2011 and 2012. But then, really, as we got deeper, you know, we were already, because my wife got healed back in, oh man, 2010, 2009. And so we were already believing in the power of the Most High. But then when we got the Straitway and we saw deliverance and we got set free, a lot of things, we really went hard in deliverance. I had never participated in deliverance like that. And, you know, it's like, man, I, after seeing some of the things we seen spiritually, we seen that there was a distinct difference in people who would come to community and really do Acts chapter 2, and those who are just on street corners and doing it. And I knew that even when we were searching through and trying to find the whole Sabbath deal, we came across the GOCCs, we came across the Israel of Gods and all of these different
Mm-hmm.
uh you know camps and whatnot. But my spirit was never led to any of that, man. Though people had good information here and there. And so that was what we based it on. And we started having just a lot of late nights full of deliverance. And we started um, doing a lot of that, man. We was laying on the hands. We were seeing people get healed. We were seeing miracles. And I'm like, man, this is it. And really my third time at Straitway, Brother Mike, is me getting ordained. You know, I hadn't spent a lot
Oh
of
wow.
time around uh Pastor Dow or Straitway. It was just, you know, Pastor Dow and you know, Elder Rufus and uh you know, at the time, Pastor Joe Fox was around. You know, just that's what was swirling around. And so you know, that's what I know. The Most High has a charge that is on us to do and serve at this capacity, and that's what we intend to do. And so that's what I push to the saints, to really abide in Yah and more. And we finding out all the years that we had try to have fellowship with people who were of different camps in these different places. We were trying to push that, and it just led to a lot of waste of time. And really, we found out who the true people over the course of time. And right now, with where we are with Straitway Kansas City, Brother Mike, we have a good core group that we all are on the same page. What we believe in the evidence of speaking in tongues, we believe in the laying on of hands. You know, we believe in the one pot uh, system. We believe that we are the true Israelites in this day that are pressing in, and we have found that group of people that's doing the same thing. And so this is just it's a joy to be in that. Now, you know, that we have some current things, and I'm assuming Brother Mike will get to those here a little later. But you know, and I'll just follow your lead on that, you know, just kind of where we are now. We did have some changes take place, and we can touch that, you know, or we can just keep going, you know.
Yeah, we had a good point. Let's go into some of the changes, some of the challenges that you've encountered, and with Straightway KC, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, Brother Mike, I put it like this. And let me start out by saying this. You know, when you start out having community, and I saw this in you, when we came down, you had a lot of zeal, you came in. I remember sitting next to you at the Dry Bones conference, and um, the thing about it, and this is what I know because I see what everybody. I told Brother Daniel this, I told Kabir this, and we talked, but we didn't really get a chance to talk. But I tell everybody that's new, um, you're going to face the challenges. You know why? Because I was here early on, and I wasn't there when Pastor Dow first started. But just being here since 2011, I seen those that I wouldn't think or thought that it was people contrary down on the land when you found that this is the way we should go, and it's proven true. And people saw that during COVID, that, oh, well, maybe I need to be somewhere with like-minded people. Well, you only want to be there to save your tail. You know what I mean? Save your ass. You don't want to be there because you want the one accord. All right. And so, Mike, the things that I've seen, especially when you are bringing a lot of people together from different walks of life. You have a lot of women that are coming from different walks of life. No father in the home. You've just been abused and misused by men of all sorts. You're spiritually jacked up. We got men that didn't have fathers. It's jacked. So you bringing all this conglomerate of people together. Well, you'll start to see people form cliques. People will not be quick to listen and slow to speak. Everybody want to have an opinion. Early on, I had a man that was here. This was before I was ordained. He felt it was good and fair for everybody to get up and have something to say. When that's the spirit of this world. When you look at the Hebrew Israelite camp in itself, that everybody needs a mic so that they can tell their side of what being a Hebrew Israelite is. When it don't work like that, this Yah has preordained and anointed this thing to be done, and it's going to be done accordingly. And what people don't understand, and so this is where you have a lot of kickback in community, because people have a worldly mind. And truly, what I've seen, in my time, carnality is the biggest thing that is going to hinder people in community, because people just are not dying to self. They're not dying to the flesh. They're not dying to who they were in the past, and they think they are, but they not. And I've seen it destroy many people, even up to this point where we are right now with Jalon and Keith. Man, that if I ain't never seen some people deceived in my life, that this it, and I've seen this sister be around. I was just telling somebody, I can look back, literally look at this woman's track record of carnality. All right. And I can look when we had, you all probably never seen the video of a sister. Her name was Drea. She came over from GOCC. Pastor Dow did a video a long time ago from GOCC to Straitway. And I remember that sister was here with another sister, Ty, that was with GOCC. And I look at how carnal these people were. We had this whole thing about speaking in tongues, and she had some guys that came that thought they was going to represent and be here and talk about and tell us what speaking in tongue was and about the power. And all these people then gone, and they didn't came and went. And Drea had a experience out of this world when Ty was doing everything she could to keep you from believing, right? And so Drea had that experience, but soon, because you let people be in your ear, you associate with the wrong people that's around on the outskirts of the camp, talking and running their mouths, you get deceived. And I remember my wife sent a letter out that was in the form of rebuke. Now we in leadership. We can't rebuke. We can't charge people to want to level up and be better. Well, that whole thing turned to an explosion. Drea made a comment, boy, and Jelon, that was her window in to come right in. And when I see what we just had a council about, way back then, that was an issue. And so they, when we had the council, that still was an issue on what my wife was doing. And that to me showed just how carnal people are, where they never hear. And I was thinking about what Jesus said. He told the disciples, he speak to the people in parables, but to them, he speak to them in plain, because they ought to be able to understand. And this is how I know, when I used to talk to that sister in certain parables, because the words should catch, but you never could catch it. So you said you couldn't understand what I was saying. And it was a lot of other people like they never hear, Mike. They'll never hear.
And
So
and real fast on what you're saying, because I like the way you break it down, because you said it from another angle than the way I kind of, and I want to make sure I'm understanding you right. It's like, basically, it's that stubborn spirit that's on our people as a nation. Would you say that?
Oh my God. That's what it is. And
Yeah.
I just said that yesterday. I just said that yesterday. No, in that teaching about loving the law of Yah, people don't really love the law of Yah. They don't know what that is. You don't really understand what that is, because see, when you hear the speech of David, you can tell. See, one of the things he said in Psalms 119 was, great peace. He said, why can't I'm drawing a blank? Great peace. That he said, great peace have they that love the law, and nothing shall offend them. I don't know why I was drawing a blank,
But that,
but
yeah.
but my whole point is that the nothing shall offend them. That means that you know that the law of Yah is just, and just being associated with Yah, justice is going to be served one way or the other. So therefore, it behooves me to always line up with the workings and the service and the things that best suit us in serving Yah. But this, because we are such a rebellious house, a stiff-necked people, then you're not going to have that. And that's why I am more so now than ever. I told the saints yesterday, I said, you know what? One thing Pastor Cory has learned more than anything in being a pastor, and that thing is, a little leaven will leaven the whole goddamn lump, my brother. I mean, it ain't no doubt that because I was telling him, I said, when we read yesterday, you see that in Second Ezra, it was referring to the grain of sin that started in Adam. And you look at where we at right now with what I call the deception in the arm. That whole thing now all stem from that grain. And when I look at all the hardships that you will have in community, if you don't deal with these people right then, and I know you're supposed to be long suffering, but you can tell who is a stain on your feast of charity. You can tell who they just ain't gonna cut it. Because I'm looking at all the people. I can see faces. And you know what? You knew they wasn't gonna cut it. So where I am now, brother, I don't want nobody from the past. I don't want to deal with people who gonna come that I can see you a waste of time. I'm where I'm at right now. I'll cut you down at the doorway. I would turn you away at the doorway right now and tell you it ain't no place here for you. Why? Because I know I like where we at with these small numbers. We dealing with from 70 people, we probably dealing on a regular with about 30 something people. And the ones that, while we still here in Kansas City, because here in about a week, we getting ready to move. You know what I mean? We got to move again because these people didn't want us here where we at. But I told the Saints before we got here, we're not going to get comfortable. All we're doing is catching our breath. And we're praying and focusing on what y'all's getting ready to do next. And that has already happened. And so when these people came, all the Saints, I mean, it was just amazement again. Like, wow, Pastor. You know what? Because I'm just staying spiritually in tune. See, I don't have time anymore to look towards people that are going to be a waste of time. You don't have your mind made up on whether or not you want to serve Yah with all your heart, 3/4, half, or 1/4. I don't have time for that.
Yeah. That's facts.
That's it.
Pastor Cory, if you can break down to people who might not understand or be familiar. I know a lot of the viewers of Spiritual Combat might not be too familiar with community. You had mentioned something about a contrary person or a contrary spirit. Can you elaborate on that and break that down?
Yeah, you know, so and even the more so, brother Mike, you can start to understand. Let's talk from a spiritual standpoint. One, you find that there's people that they never can participate in the true move when the presence of the Most High Yah is weighing in heavy. Just like in that service we had yesterday at Sabbath. As much as the spirit moves, you can still look around and see people that, you know, it didn't touch you, it didn't affect you. So when I see stuff like that, then I know I gotta watch, because now that, what are you here for? See, if you go back to Acts chapter 2, them people was all together in one place and working many signs and wonders. You know what I mean? And doing those things, but all those folks desired, because they showed forth a fruit that demonstrated that they were in community. They were there on the account of the Messiah. See, people ain't coming to community. These people that's coming to community because they want to escape the coming times, the wrath that's coming on the earth. People are coming to community because they are survivalists or they are preppers. People are coming to community because they so used to camaraderie and organizations and group settings, but none of it's Christ, none of it's Jesus, Yahshua HaMashiach. And so you got to distinguish those people up front and find them. Then the second thing is you will start to see these contrary people have drawbacks in areas. You know, they come with a set of instructions on what they are able to do, what they can contribute, instead of your fruit showing forth what can be worked and your gift making room. You know what I mean? See, I've always even when I've had many people that wanted to come when we've had Sabbath in the city, I had a guy come up to me and tell me, you know, in the church, I was a teacher in the church, and I said, that's good. Yep, well, it's good. You know, because it don't work like that over here. I mean, I don't know why you telling me, brother. If that what you are, it's gonna be confirmed, you know, by the Spirit on how it worked over here. You ain't got to tell. And so these contrary people, but what you'll start to see, Mike, you know, and this is why one of my favorite sayings of Pastor Charles Dow is, a new broom sweep good at first. I like that. Boy, I love that. You know why? Because you see these people, man. Truly, you see where they are. And that's when I look back at all the people that been in Straitway, you know, and then all the people that been here up close where I can see you. I look, they were really courteous up front. They ran, they pretended to show double honor. You know, they looked like they were going to turn out to be good because they offered all this service up front. But you know that's going to run out. because see, the serving ain't the work that you're doing. It's the tireless things that you know that have to be done to keep the kingdom being built. It's that. And then you start to find that people ain't really focused on the kingdom because they really had an alternative motive. You just got to watch when is that desire for that alternative motive really starting to take over in these people. When and then when you start watching them, you'll start to see it because now they not so readily available no more. They are more so starting to find others that they trying to see if they are tired. You start to hear murmuring. You can start to look out and see them, when it's time to fellowship in the midst of the people. They start to be off to themselves in other little groups and cliques and other things. And then that's how I found a lot of people that was contrary because I started watching their way. And then guess what? Boom. And I watched and watched, then all of a sudden you hear, and then when you hear and you bring it forward, then you start to see the denying and the lying, and it goes on until it's over, man. And the main thing I would say about contrary people, brother Mike, is that don't let them around the true people. You got to cut them early. You got to cut them off early. You got to confront them early on because they're gonna destroy much. They're gonna destroy much good. I'm telling you. And see the difference in it, Mike, where I think where we have to be as Israelite communities is we have to be completely free of a religious way of thinking when it comes to setting up community. You're not setting up an organization. You're not setting up a church. See, you are instituting the way of life according to the commandments of the Most High Yah. So that, first of all, takes leaders being in the mindset of always being in the mindset of guarding the way of Yah first, above developing relationships and developing friends. Because if I can get because see, listen, if you build a community off of people that are doers and they desire what you desire, oh, you ain't got to worry about it. Everybody else ain't gonna make it because they just they don't fit. Because you're gonna find out they want to be a part of the organization. They're gonna speak up. Well, you are, and they'll start making suggestions. Well, we already, and that's what I found early on. Straitway already had a way, but the people that was contrary, they wanted to come. They attacked the head coverings. They attack wearing shorts. They attack, why we got to watch past that? Why we can't just do our own thing? You know what I mean? Why this? Why that? A lot of whys instead of a lot of just coming in and being a part and learning. And look, see, if you got people automatically want to come in and teach and disrupt and change, they ain't the ones. You got people that want to come in and, they were big in church and big in other organizations, and they got better solutions. They ain't the ones. I got Brother Dante here. He Brother Dante is a huge help. But when he first came in, he had all these suggestions, and none of that shit did. We ain't let none of that shit fly. It's better to say no and not let people do shit and see where they at, opposed to letting these people come in. Because once you get them a little bit, Mike, they ain't gonna be able to do it. I can trust Brother Dante with the business because you went out. And when you came back, guess where I started you at? All the way at the bottom again. And everything. You ain't coming in. You don't know nothing. I'm starting you back at 0 age. You are a little child. You gonna go right back to the ground. And when we feel like you're ready to get up, then that's when you're gonna get up. And guess what? It's working. I look at the growth of that brother's house. I look at people that accept it. I look at the people that didn't accept it and where they at right now. You have gone on, but I'm watching your continued decline. Right? I hope I ain't rambled too much, brother Mike.
Nah, you getting it. You getting it. Um, Talk if you could. Let me see. Uh, on your on the lesson you did yesterday, and if y'all haven't seen it, Pastor Cory, tell them your YouTube channel.
It's Straitway, Kansas
So
on YouTube.
Straightway
Yep.
Camps on YouTube. But on that lesson yesterday, one of the things you had talked about, and I wanted you to elaborate on here also, is bringing the flesh under submission. Can you? I mean, you've already alluded to it a little, but can you go in on that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, Mike, I'm gonna say this. Here's one thing that we have to abide in. When you're talking about coming to community, first of all, you got to understand that Yah already have people being prepared to be in submission because Israel is a rebellious house. And that's one thing I understand. That's why I never try to overthrow things that Pastor Dow put in place because I'm fearful of the Most High Yah. I ain't fearful of man. It ain't about being fearful of man more so than I want to make sure if I add something, I'm not interfering with something you have laid on the heart of Pastor Dow. And then when he asks and he's looking for the input of the elders or pastors or deacons or whoever, then guess what? Then I'm gonna give you what is here in my mind. Because I know there's something Yah is doing overall with this big picture to work something. And what people got to be careful is that they are not injecting something that is in their mind the way they see it that may not be of the Most High Yah, because you're not even fully or thoroughly furnished in the ways of the Most High Yah, thoroughly furnished in righteousness and the things that's coming forward. And so when we look at this standpoint, Brother Mike, it's about positioning one's self to be ready to submit to what the rules of that community is. Whatever, every community is not going to be exactly alike because everybody's at different places. Some people are just getting started. Some people are midway through the process, but waiting on more resources, or other people being added that's bringing more resources, or whatever the case is. There's different things according to where those communities are. And what you find, people always want to go back and say, well, Pastor Dow said this. Well, guess what? I know Pastor Dow said that. But what if you living in a place right now where you can't be building on, where you don't own that place? You're going to build and rearrange these people's place that you're living in? No, you're not going to do it. So this is where people got to understand submitting to the order and the authority of where you are in accordance to moving in that same general vein of what's going on. Now, when I look at it as a whole, Brother Mike, and I want to make sure, first of all, let me ask you this. What I've said to you so far, how does that make sense pertaining to us sharing this with the audience?
How what you just said? How does it make sense?
Yes, when people come into community and being in submission, because that's the basis. You can't even be a part.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, coming in the community, um, you're gonna have to die to self. I mean, it's when you live in community, it's it's the iron sharpen iron situation where you really have to get yourself right.
Right. And so and that's what I want you to understand. See, in order for me to die to the flesh, see, that's just the initial step. So here it is in just plain flat form. Not only are you going to have to die to your desires when you come, because this is what happened. People come and they don't do that initially. You don't realize that you're coming to be a part of something. You are coming. You are coming to be a part. People are not going to be a part of what you're doing. You are coming to be a part of what's already taking place. You hear what I'm saying, Brother Mike?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get there, what's going to happen is you may have ways that you did carnally that was in the world that is not accepted. You got to be willing to accept the rebuke, the admonishment. All right. You got to be willing to do things that you don't particularly think that is your expertise. But because that's what's needed at that time, then be willing to do it until that's lifted, and do it with good cheer and a glad heart and a right mind. All right. And so those are the kind of like the next level thing, because then we're going to get into really the spiritual person that you are and how you need to die, because see, that's where now people begin to reject deliverance. They begin to reject the correction that comes. They don't think that that's them
Mm.
when you bring it.
Mm.
And so even not only that, but they reject the process when you go and you bring back 2 or 3 others. They still don't think it's them. So
Mm.
then they don't even think it's necessary to sit down in front of the congregation, because they're dealing with rejection and they're dealing with embarrassment, or condemnation in some capacity. Then they don't think it's good. I don't got to sit down with all these people. And so, but it's the process, because the thing is, remember, if that brother here, if that sister here, you gain a brother, but that's what everybody misses. So in order for yourself, if you're a person that want to be a part of community, you got to understand that the best trait you can bring in dying the flesh is hearing. And hearing takes not rejecting what is said, but more so you having the wherewithal to want to go back down and sit down with what is said, that you're going to pray, that you're willing to fast, you're willing to go through deliverance, and you're willing to go to those sitting in authority and asking, am I getting better? And seeing, am I getting better? And then taking note of the actions that are presented, that are laid out, that shows as fruit that you have not yet died to your flesh. And see, all dying to the flesh is, watch this, it may be some instructions that, Brother Mike, on your own, you are used to going to the mall and window shopping every Friday. That's what you was used to doing. But whoever's that community head said, Mike, I don't want you going window shopping every Friday. What I need you doing, I need you helping and assisting with children's activities on Friday, getting them to the park or doing something that's going to be beneficial to the whole. And then you reject it. Now, I'm just giving you a small example.
Right.
But why are you rejecting it? Well, guess what? It's going to keep you from feeling edified in self some kind of way. And now we're in your way. Community is in your way. Well, you need to die to that. And maybe that opportunity will come around later on. Watch this, Mike. I'm going to give you an example. Deacon Miguel, you know what that is, right?
Yep.
Deacon Miguel is a musician. Deacon Miguel is an artist. He know how to do music real good.
Mm-hmm.
When Deacon Miguel first got here, he liked sitting down in the room making beats late at night and doing shit. And I told Deacon, you got to put that shit up. Because I need you doing this. This is what's going to help us. It's better for you to do this, Deacon, than you doing that. And if y'all want you to make music and do this, then guess what? He's going to bring that opportunity back around. But seek the kingdom of heaven first. Do what we needed. Do what's going to be more beneficial here first. And man, believe me, look, Deacon started putting that off. And there was a lot of things coming, because one of his guys that did music had some things that they did long time ago that hit big, that went somewhere. And it's like, but it was going to require him to start taking his attention away again Where guess what? All we got is a few people that we can rely on that's gonna help build community. That's gonna help start to build, help start to institute different things that each one of us have talents in and know how to do. We need focus on that right now. So how can you take attention off of that and start putting the things on what you want to do versus what we need? And that's what people don't understand. And so that's where people start to take offense, and people will hold that in their heart, Brother Mike, and then they will start to look at you with an evil eye when you're talking, when you giving instructions. They'll stand in the back of the room and you the worst nigga on earth. You know what I mean? Because you have all of a sudden become the enemy because they can't do what they want to do. All right. And so that's an example of dying the flesh. And this is where,
That's a real good example.
yeah, and that's where people got to understand. You're coming to benefit the whole. So
Right.
it's gonna be things that you must die to, that you got to put away. I mean, you got to put away. I'm gonna say this last thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a sister one time, and I asked a question to her, considering the lifestyle that they lived prior to coming to community. And I said, I just wanted to know. I said, because I see your fruit now, you are doing well in community. I just wanted to know what was some of the biggest things about being in community that you had to die to self on or in the area of, and you have gone past those things to obviously become the sister you are now. And one of the things that sister said, brother, was, just, getting used to not just leaving community when I want to leave community, or asking for permission, or seeing others leave communities that always get to leave and they come back with bags, or they may have some outside food that they picked up and they brought back to community, and fighting against those thoughts. Well, look what they're doing. Look what they get versus what we get. And so people are, and that's what I try to talk to the saints about. Number one, always communicate and ask. No matter what it is, ask for what you want. And if it's that time, if it's your time, because what I try to do in community is I try to put things aside for what people need. And if it's something that they really need and we can't get it at that time, we keep it in a what we call a little desire box here that I can go back for myself as a leader. I can go back and say, okay, they need this, but I try to stay within a budget each month, so I know when your turn is coming up to get that what you need. And I've tried to put that up against more urgent needs than something we can get later on, 6 months, or we may not be able to get that for a year out. But just be thankful, be content with what's with such as ye have, and try to understand that in community, it's things that if we always cater to all of these little things, if we don't ever put forth the effort to get there, we never gonna get there. And that's what people that are not in leadership positions, they don't understand that. You're in community, but you have not done what's necessary to be in community. Like I tell these saints, this is our kind of spiritual charging that I have laid upon the saints. I said, these two things I need you to always remember if you're gonna be around me. One, keep your eyes off self. All right. So when you
Mm-hmm.
keep your eyes off self, meaning that you position yourself to such that you don't start getting into this mindset of wondering, when is it going to be my turn? When is this? And when, I never get, keep your eyes off of that. And the second thing is watch your way. When I say watch your way, that means that every day assess whether or not that you are benefiting the people. Are you coming down and having breakfast in the right spirit, in the right mind? What type of tormenting thoughts that came upon you that don't affect us, but you allow that to affect your dwelling and being in the midst of the saints to the point where you're no longer effective? Are you really doing it in the right spirit? Are you really benefiting? Are you doing what you're doing begrudgingly? See, so when I tell them, I ask them that at breakfast all the time, so that that's kind of a little intermediate check-in with what type of spirit are you dwelling in, and are you at this point in our journey towards where we're going not able to go on with us because you didn't watch your way and you started putting your eyes back on self, so that now this journey that we're on, this is where the fork is in the road and you're not in the same mindset to continue. See, because that's why I want people to be able to assess, because I'm not going to cater to it, Brother Mike. I got to get there. So if you ain't doing those two things, then it might be time. That's why I want them, because that's where I take them. If you ain't in that, this might be that time to go ahead and break off while we still going straight. Right?
That's good. Talk about we talked a little bit about this before the show. You have Straitway Candace training items.
Okay.
Talk about that. And while you're talking, I'm gonna pull it up here for the brothers and sisters to see.
Absolutely. What I have done is, just in the times of going the straight way and being down at the range and listening to Pastor Dow, listening to Brother Gideon, I have just put together just a listing of just basic things that we always want to stay fresh on until we get more training, until we go down, or until we get in and come and be where we are to feed us more. So I put this together. This is kind of, we'll pick throughout the month. What we do is we have groups where we have what's called lions, tigers, cats, all right, or herd. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that will fill in on that schedule, the date when these things are gonna happen, and we'll pick what, like for instance, like the listing, we have assembly and disassembly, skill work. How fast we can get rifles put together and broken down, handguns. How fast can we do that? Just taking making sure that when people get weapons out there, we're doing a weapons safety check, or we're doing dry fire drills, things like that. And so we'll talk about when we're doing it. It's not all just wasting ammo, and people get to understand. We have our sisters groups. When they do it, we know we do this because when they have duties like cooking or wash days or things like that, we're able to take the information from here and track what they're doing kind of on an Excel sheet and say, okay, we look, your last time when we did the 10-yard range of shooting, you did 15 out of 20, whereas you starting to slack now, you're hitting 8 out of 20. So those things like that, we are able to kind of keep people mind focused on just the little basic things. So when we get the Straitway, we're not wasting Brother Gideon's time. We're not wasting drill time. And, we can stay up on it. Now, it's harder to do because we are kind of, even though we're in a small town, we're in the city limits. So we haven't been able to do any training because we just been in moving and transitioning since leaving Colony, after dealing with that shit out there with Jelon and Keith dealing with that raggedy ass shit. But so we just been, and like I told the Saints, once we get settled in down there, I already have it in contract with the guy at the place that we're going. And so that we'll start to pick that back up. But that's kind of what we do. We have a weekly schedule of things that we want to do. And the good thing about where we're moving, Brother Mike, is that now we talk to the guy about some little things that he have that we can restore. Like he have some rooms that he wants painted, or he has some sheds where he wants us to do some framing in and install some things. He paying for all of it. We're just getting the experience. So that's some things that we're going to institute down there. I know we have things that we institute, with the children, with activities, with training, and some of these things, so they can know that this is what you want to be doing in community. So this is why we are kind of putting together a listing of documents and documentations that we want to put in a notebook to say this is what community is. This is how you follow. This is training. This is breakfast. This is dinner. This is keeping track of finances. This is community. And so that's why we have that document. And so we use that, Brother Mike.
Okay. If you could talk about, you know, some of the, I know we kind of in a broad type way elaborated on certain um, issues that, or I'd call it regularly occurring issues that come up when you come together and live together in a set apart way. But more specifically, talk about things that you've seen as far as like with marriage and marriage counsel, with people not wanting to go all in, and um, uh, people just being wasteful on community, not being efficient. Speak on that if you can.
Absolutely. First of all, I tell the saints, I say the goal should be is to always be looking to be in a shit hit the fan situation
Right.
where everything counts. And I said, especially, we are in a position where we got to monitor solar energy. We got to monitor food reserves that we're going in, that we had stored up for years and things like that. You should be practicing living in that, because see, also in that's where I get to see contrary people. And so this is what I call kickback,
Mm.
you know. And in kickback, you start to see people that just don't want instruction. They don't want to go with instruction. Over the course of time, we've had people, you know, uh, like Drea, Ashley, Ramsey. You heard. I don't know if you heard a while back, Pastor Dow mentioned her. She sent a text message to me just about what her status was. About she been with a lot of men. She had other children. She don't know who the father is. But I can go back to the instruction that Pastor Dow gave about this guy that you thought you wanted your family back. He wasn't trying to do it. I remember when they first came. They came to the same meeting that Sandra came. We call Mother Sandra just because she's older and just reverence more so. But uh, Malcolm was there, but he never wanted to serve the Most High. And I remember she started running, but she never would cut her contact with him. You always kept hope. You even got betrothed to a brother here, and you deceived that brother because you just up and left. Now you have all this, this hell being raised in your life, and you know you just in a bad spot. Why? Because you didn't accept the counsel. This same thing. With this recent situation. People not accepting the counsel when you are pointing things out in the book, and you don't want to abide in it. Same thing. It's the same thing happened to Drea. You left here. You went with this damn Terrence. Guess what? Drea's by herself. You had more children. Terrence is an atheist now. You don't even believe in it, and she all over the place. Um, Another sister that was here, Pam. Same thing. Pastor told her about this dude. You got married on your own, and you was all prideful about your marriage, I can go find the Facebook videos and everybody against my marriage. And now you ain't even with them. Now you a Muslim. You ain't even Israel no more. See, so that's what I mean. It's like that's what people kick back and reject. It wastes time, but it ends up in these type of outcomes, brother Mike. And so not only that, when you find people that don't want to be all in, I mean, some people don't know what all in is. All in is one pot. Just what it is. And
And
you
and
got
I and one of the things me and the Saints here were talking about being all in, and a lot of people see that will see that in one way or another, maybe as money, but it means all in, even emotionally, being all in all aspects of who you are and everything.
that's it. I mean,
And,
it
I,
is.
and,
Go ahead.
and it's funny because like an interesting thing I noticed is like you, because for me, it got to be real simple for me to get it. And what I've seen is people who come here and they see this as their family, they it works fine. But people who come for whatever other reason, it just be it be everything else.
That's it. That's it, man. You said it. See, but we were like that from the beginning, you know. And that's why I mentioned early on about myself and my Ishai. You know, we always have been like family. We always, whatever. I felt like it wasn't nothing that never couldn't be worked out. We just need to go forward. If we're gonna be family in Yah, and if we in Yah, how can it not work out if we all willing to be up under this word that shows us how to manage and maintain fairness, unfairness. It judges on where we get out of line. Even if we get out of line in leadership, it lays it out. So let's go forward as family. And so that was always the joyous thing about it. But you find that people they're not all in emotionally. They're not all in thought. People come. See, this is the biggest thing I find. People come looking. They come searching you over extremely hard, Mike. That makes you not fit. You understand, brother Mike? You're not fit, brother, because something you don't you sound like you on the street when you talk, or you wear your hat to the side, or what I mean, you don't greet them as Mr. I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of stuff. People it's amazing what people come with. And so ultimately you the problem why this is not going to work for them, and those are the things that are just it's kickback. Here's some other things, Mike, to go along with it. When I look at people who find themselves not truly on the accord, what they do, they gravitate. And this is what I warn people about right here. I watch this time and time again. I always tell people here, one, if you come with a friend or a buddy, and I find this mostly in women, I said, I wouldn't be so close to this person in the flesh to the point where if something comes that's wicked and evil, I'm not able to rebuke them. Two, if they get rebuked, I'm not so close to them where I can't see the evil that they do and I end up on the wrong side of it. You got what I'm saying, brother Mike? And that has happened time and time again, where people can't separate what's righteous and what's wicked. And even after they leave, soon after, the friend leave, and then you find them back together and they're in agreement with the wicked that these people are doing out in the world. See what I mean? I watched it, just like the prime example, Bree Perry. You was getting ready to leave here and take your ass down into Kentucky with DeJerry. And as a matter of fact, the last time that me and you was on live, She sent me a text in the middle of the show, said, the Most High showed her what she came here for, and he got something else for her. And I guess that something else was going down there to the Jerry till I rebuked their ass live online. Then you didn't end up down there. Now you just had a baby last week. But my point is that if you know these people are wicked and they turned away, we just talked about this yesterday with David. David hate people that turn away from the commandments, from the Torah. So now, are you mad at? Get mad at David because he said it, but then you get mad at Pastor Cory because I'm following the example that's out in front of him. If y'all can abide it and understand it, and so these people kick back and don't understand. All you doing is following what is written. And it's a lot of that, man. People don't understand, Brother Mike, how they waste food, or when people will come in, Mike, you bring groceries in. I've seen, especially, oh my goodness. I don't even want to keep talking about that sister, but listen, Mike, I done seen groceries. Groceries wasted. You talking about almost $1,000 worth of meat that we had butchered a while back. Some kind of way, people left deep freezers open. They got unplugged. We done lost major food several times because people in this lazy ass wicked spirit, brother. That's what I mean. You're not on the accord. You doing stuff careless. We've double brought things because you don't want to do the inventory right.
That's the word you use there says it all. Care less. There's not enough. There's less care. Like that's a big one. Like attention to detail and all that. Yeah.
That's it. Attention to detail, man. We've had brothers, just leave stuff, out. I remember we had a pump we brought, for the garden. We was catching rainwater, and we had the rainwater being pumped where they would go from those. I think they was 500 gallon. If I'm correct, those 500-gallon containers, it would flow from the garage down there, and when they get full, it'll push it to the next one. And so we had like 3 or 4 of them lined up, and the pump would pull it so that it can water the garden. You know what I mean? Trying to save money, right? But the pump had to be covered up. So if you uncovered it to turn it on, and you had careless shit like that, when you spent $300 and $400 on pumps like that, people don't care, bro. It ain't their money. That people would waste that type of stuff. We've had food left open. You out in the country, you got field mice out there, man. You come and look in storage, grains that we had that we use that we cook with, but people have just left the top off of it because you in some type of damn spirit, and you just leave it open. You just leave it open. See that stuff like that, brother. It's like that's what I'm saying. If people really understand that it's your duty, that's why I went through that process. You're coming to be in community. Already prepare yourself to just be nothing. If any man think that he is something, he is nothing. Be nothing, and then let your fruit and your work begin to build you up, and let people know you by your fruit, what you are producing here in the midst of the people.
And real talk, like in a grid down, real when the shit hit the fan situation, man, those types of behaviors and those types of spirits are that get somebody killed or somebody,
Man, listen, brother Mike, this is why we are leaving people behind for tabernacles. Because how else am I going to get you to see that I can't listen? If you can't get this together, I can't have you around because you're going to cost my family. And listen, if we that deep in it, I know I mess around, brother, might go inside my hip. You know what I mean? You understand? Because,
yo,
bro,
telling you, man.
People don't understand. People is lost, brother. And it's people have done things where they leave you wide open for other people to have access to you, have, you know, people to come in on you. They waste valuable resources that we know we may need. We might not be able to go out and get no more resources, but because your careless attitude or your lack thereof, it's going to hurt something later on. And so we trying to get people attention, you know, by giving, you know, strong rebuking with all authority. But people don't want that, man. You know, it's like,
Right.
it's amazing, bro. I've had, if I could say I've experienced anything, Mike, it's being in community, brother. I'm telling you.
Now, we're gonna that, because I don't want people to think, oh man, community, it sounds so negative. We're gonna, and I'll lead into this, and I know you can bring a lot into it. You know, because what we're doing is painting a picture. I think what Pastor Cory did, really showing these details, is what you're going to see in over the whole of this interview is why, like, some people don't understand why certain behaviors that they have are scrutinized so hard. And I think Pastor Cory laid out a nice trail of what this little behavior that you don't think is a big deal, how detrimental and how big of a deal it could be, you know, as you come together real as a tight, cohesive group of saints. I know here in Straitway, Florida, you know, we do a lot of automotive work, a lot of datacom and technical work down here. And we've been super busy the past couple months or whatever. But I've really began it really, you learn that when you working with saints, you really get a good idea of who they are as a person, how they listen, how they interpret what's told to them, and then how they do what's told to them, and to what level of quality they do what's told to them. And I'm gonna say, the brothers and sisters we got down here, it's a solid group of professional brothers. You know, I thank the Most High for them. But what I wanted to get into, Pastor Cory, is the benefits of community. I mean, because I know down here with the business we've started up down here, I mean, where we work at, there's actually other businesses or other contractors that do the exact same thing we do. But even now, in our infancy, we see how many levels above them we are, just because we got our mind lined up with Yah's word. But if you can, Pastor Cory, go into the benefits and the power that's in community, if you could, spiritually and on an economic level.
Got you. Exactly. I mean, you hit the nail, you know, on the head with the hammer, bro. You nailed it straight in one hit, brother. And you know, in talking about just the benefit when you get everybody on your card, I mean, I wouldn't do nothing else to tell you the truth. You know, it's just getting there, or people understanding what we said. All like
Right.
Brother Michael Israel said, you know, you can avoid all of that if people understand how to come in. So that's why I said it up front. That's why I gave you a layout. You know, if you prepare yourself knowing that this is the ultimate dying to yourself, because it is the remnant. So you should be thankful, because it is this is the best of the best, meaning that these are the people that's gonna give themselves up. If you go back to Yeshua's day, the people that dwell together, they all knew we're gonna serve Christ. So that's easy. You know what I mean? Now we getting persecuted by the authority of the day. We're not getting persecuted by the people that's within. You know what I mean? More so when you get people of that type of like mind at that level. You know, you hear Pastor Dow say they get into a sweet spot. Well, I'm starting to see Straitway KC get to that sweet spot. And all I named is a just a collective over all the years from 2011 to now, just how much heartache you have when you let a little leaven come in and leaven the lump. But we to the point to where now what Brother Michael Israel is talking about, being in a position to see things, see what we're doing is looking at how can we fuel all of our financial opportunities to fuel the whole of what the vision is in Straitway, and then even more so to keep the community running at a high efficient level to be able to equip the community for long-term living, long-term opportunity to pass on, what has been instituted. And so when we look at that, then, we see just from a physical standpoint of looking at, finances and looking at the type of things that you're able to do. For us, we're not on land yet, but we have a few different things that have allowed us to accumulate, a good chunk of money here recent. And I've been saying it for a long time, Brother Mike. I started something years back called the progression plan, where I said within that 3 to 5 years, when I said it, we wanted to have 250 to 300,000. Now, this is what I did. This is why I show people where they're not on the accord. I want you to listen to this.
Okay.
I told all the saints, I said, I want you to write down your income of what, you being here, whether you're dwelling on land or dwelling at the main dwelling site, or you just a off-land saint. I want you to write down your income. Now, all together, are you ready, Mike?
Yep.
The saints in a year's time, the saint bring in $886,000 a year. You hear me? Now that's just gross. That's not paying no bills. That's nothing. You see what I mean? But I said out of all of that, the saints truly bring in maybe 40 to no, not 40. We bring in probably about 300 to 400,000 a year, and that's just people who's all in. See what I mean? And I said, and out of that, remember, now we paying bills and paying debts and doing so. Then what are we really working with when we start looking at that from a monthly basis? And that's what I'm trying to get people to see, because see, on a grand scale of things, even the IRS has said that people can donate 100% of their income in 2020 and 2021. I said, what if everybody who is supposed to been in that 800,000 a year, what if you was all your money was flowing through the foundation that the community had? I said, we kill it instantly. Now you talking about being able to go out, and we got this generation of youth that's coming up. We able to have, a construction company. We're able to have, I already have the fitness, business that's just, I mean, we are doing well. That thing's been being built for 20 years now, and we're in position to doing some great things. And that's all of that, Brother Mike, is going into one pot, and I just picked up a huge contract with a group that's in the school district, the Kansas City school district, and they're tied to some sponsors that they're going to pay Trilogy Cares Foundation, which really is the ministry. You know what I mean? So that goes straight over there, tax free.
Wow.
And we're able to go out as a foundation, start to establish DBAs under the foundation and say, okay, we have, the young men of faith construction or whatever, we name it whatever, but you're able to do things. That's one of the benefits. And then, long term, as I see it, we are looking at putting together inheritance for houses. So when young men of the Phillips house want to get married, when the young men of the Westmoreland house want to get married, when we start building, these is things that we are can literally say this is where we are pulling from. When we want to start doing businesses, we know we've put together funds that are sitting there that would be utilized as we really start to bring in an influx. Those things would be there to help stimulate what is needed for the congregation, what's needed for the houses, what's needed for the different things that are going to continue this for generations on down the line. So that's one of the physical benefits when you look at it on that grand scale. Now,
Right.
but physically, just on the day to day, man, what I see as a benefit is as a man, you know, aside from having another Ishai or being, having, uh, you know, to do a lot of things on our own, we have a community where the children are involved all day long from hour to hour, where homeschool gets taken care of. Then we have brothers like Brother Vest, who's here, is out showing the children how to work equipment, how to do maintenance on the land, how to clean and keep the land clean, keep the area clean. We have a bus where we're able to take them on field trips. We do like this, what's on the screen right here. We call this Fun Day, where once a month on Friday, we have a big inner youth just competition where they get a chance to do different activities and earn prizes and earn things. We incorporate uh just spontaneous and discovery play with Bible principles and things like that, where they all get a chance to see these things in action. Not coveting something somebody else have. What I mean, if you didn't win something, congratulate them. What I mean, so things like that. That's what we try to do. To just raise up a generation. But you don't have this when you got to do all this by yourself. Because no one, you ain't gonna have the time because you're working 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you get done with 9 to 5, you got stuff around the house to do. When you do that, where's the time with the children?
Then it's time to
Right.
go to sleep.
It's time to go to sleep. So, it ain't much of that. So you get to foster a lot of these things that you get to do together that otherwise you would have to do on yourself. Just a few, I'm just gonna name a few other benefits. Financially, where we know the economy is putting a squeeze on people. Now it's like Deacon said, he just said it recently. He said, man, I'm able to do things that I otherwise wouldn't be able to do if I had to do this on my own, because where
Right.
I was prior, I wasn't able to just go out. If I had a great need, I would just have to suffer, where now the community is kicking in and taking care of that, and I don't have to worry about that
Right.
any longer, and that go, like Sister Aisha, you're able to take one of the cards from the foundation and just go, hey, well, I got things I need to go do for the family. Well, what is it? Does it fall in line with on this go round of buying it, or is it fall on the next? If it is, here's a card. Go get it. Bring back the receipts. We put it right there in the system. And guess what? You don't have no worry, no need. That's how it goes. And you have many things of that magnitude that we're able to do. The sisters, they get their oil change, they get their car checked, before, they leave the land. They don't leave by themselves. Man, when we go shopping, we know what we need as far as if we get in school supplies. I mean, it's endless, and it's just joyous to do. You
Right.
know, it's a joyous thing because you look, we just the family of Yah. We have this money or this surplus that we're able to take care of all of these things that we be without excuse and serve the Most High Yah. Because now you don't have that distraction. Just serve the Most High Yah. You know what I
Man,
mean?
I mean, man, y'all, if I hope watch this from the beginning because I'm telling you, you brought it right back home. Why it's so imperative that you realize and humble down and address these curses you might be walking in that people be in denial about. Cause man, you watch a bunch of my videos. I tell you, man, all the way up until about a year and a half before I retired from the military, I was fully walking in a stiff-necked, stubborn spirit. I mean, it's on us as a nation, and it's like the main reason why we ain't got nothing. And it's the main reason why here in Straitway you see something. Nowhere else. You don't see it nowhere else in any other religion or whatever you want to call it, Hebrew Israelite, Islam, but anything else out there, you don't see them doing nothing remotely to what we have going on here. You know?
Yeah, brother Mike, and that leads us into the spiritual aspect of
Yeah.
community because here's the schematics of the community. See, one, I know that we have this place, and it's like I'm the gatekeeper here at this community. And I know what's inside. I know that you're going to receive healing. You're going to receive deliverance in some capacity, whether you receive it here, whether you receive it when you go to the big gatherings of the people, you're going to receive it.
Right.
But I got to make sure that you know that, and I said this in the message before, you're not coming to join people. You're coming to receive what Christ brought. Everybody is jacked up. That's one of the reasons why he came bringing deliverance. I did a message long time ago about this, the spiritual temple. Man, it could have been like 6 or 7 years ago, man. And I noticed back then when they had opened up the temple after so long of not being in it, the first thing they did, they went in and cleansed. They went in and cleansed the holy place. So it being in my spirit that Yah said, no, ye not, that we are the temple of Yah. When I seen what Yahshua was doing, I noticed, I said, wait a minute. He came and he called unto himself his 12 and he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out. I said, oh my goodness, look at here. So we can't go forth and do the work because Israel is full of curses. Y'all already say he's going to curse down through the third and fourth generation. And if we ain't been right, that means there's generations.
Generational for
and generation on top of generation that's cursed and lost. So what we're doing, the work of the ministry essentially is getting clean and having a place to come help people get clean. See what I mean? That's the first and the foremost. That's what they did. That's why the folks that was up, the 120, they followed him. They believed and they received within themselves. They had a place for the Holy Spirit to be able to come and dwell in them. They prepared themselves all that time, so now they can be of a right spirit. You know what I mean?
Right.
They can have a clean heart created in them. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when and that's what this was about. So people that's coming to community, it's about being renewed. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Having that new spirit. All right. And having that heart circumcised. That's my number one thing. When I met you, I knew you needed that.
Oh yeah.
You ain't no way you're gonna come the Straitway, and that wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
That when I met Rob Mathis, guess what? Ask him what we talk about. When I met Brother Daniel, ask what happened. We ain't talk about football and how many tackles you have, and you know what I mean. We didn't get into all of that. Man, the first time I fellowship with Brother Daniel, We stayed up dang near all night, knowing I had to get up the next day and go through deliverance. Man, we just was talking about the goodness of the Most High and just talking about this being in community. I was showing him some of the music that Deacon Miguel had played, man, and just the joy that it is being with people that love Yah. And you can't love Yah if you can't get to be in that right spirit to where we all can feast on the presence and the goodness of Yah and what he's doing in the midst of us. See, that's why I was telling the saints. I said, listen to this, Brother Mike. I said it feels good not to be weighed down by that heaviness and that evil, just that evil casting that was over us, dealing in all of this that was on us. Because
Right.
we had these people that was contrary in the midst of us. Yesterday was just evident, man, that's how it used to be, man, where we could just be reading and the spirit just busts out in the midst of us, man. People laid out in the floor. I'm talking about right here with us. We ain't just getting together and people, we the people of Yah. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, he not gonna be there. Well, that ain't Israel. He gonna be in the midst. See, and so that's what you should always be striving for as a community, to always have Yah be in the midst of your gathering, because that's what make it holy. That's what make it set apart, because that means everybody's in the right spirit. He's welcome, and the people are welcoming the Holy Spirit. They're welcoming the presence of the Most High Yah to be there, so he can always work his work in the midst of you, so you know that indeed you are of the Most High. You are serving him. See, it ain't no other reason to gather. You know what I mean? To just gather because people say they want to get together. That's the primary thing. That's why they all gather, so they can keep experiencing what Yahshua showed them they should experience, because they was drawn to him. So that was the promise. If even when I'm gone, I'll still be in the midst of you. But then this is the whole thing. The whole Hebrew Israelite community is missing Yah being in the midst of them. You ain't have no Holy Spirit time. Y'all just, if y'all are, y'all just yelling and screaming, and where the work at, where the signs. Because the signs is what show that he there. Right?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. And so we always strive from a spiritual standpoint to make sure that we check one another spiritually. You know, I remember, man, I was driving home and the Holy Spirit laid something on me, and I wrote it down. I put it on Deacon's door. Well, guess what? We had never talked about it until the Most High brought that thing about, boy. And man, it came and it was just right what it needed. You know, one time Deacon daughter got attacked spiritually by something, brother, and they brought Jaden up there, you know, and I was in the room laying down. Man, but we came out, man, and that spirit broke, man. It was amazing what took place. But that's the joy of being gathered together, being one, laying hands. Just the other morning, Friday morning, brother Kevin got up, brother Michael Israel. He's like, man, I don't know what's going on, but every now and then I get up, man, and my equilibrium off. I'm just dizzy, man, because I asked him how he doing. You know, it was 4 a.m. You know, he gets up and leave the land to go leave for work early. And that's about the time I start moving around to get ready to pray. And so I came in there and I smiled. I said, brother, how you doing? He's like, man, not good, Shep. I said, what? Boy, come here. Boy, let's get in this right now. And man, we got done praying. Kevin, man, he was good, man. I called to check on him. He said, Shepherd, man, that thing gone. But do you get that living around your wicked ass family who say they love you? You know what I mean? Where every time you got to argue with them about something, or there's always something going on, you know what I mean, that ain't of the Most High. This what we get dwelling together if we say we are of the Most High Yah. It ain't Pastor Cory. That should be you, Brother Mike. That should be Brother David. That should be Brother Joe Perez. See what I mean? That should be Brother Daniel, Brother Rob, right? Brother Hassan. It should be somebody that's gathered together that's of the Most High Yah. We ain't gathered because we just gathering. This is a big organization, the Straitway organization conglomerate. No, this ain't what that is. This is Yah's people gathering because this gathering is going to save our lives, Brother Mike. It's going to save us because it's going to keep us in check. It's going to keep us in line. It's going to constantly remind us about the wonders of the Most High Yah. We're going to keep seeing his spirit do the things that he promised he would do in the midst of us. So that's the whole thing. That's why we gather together in communities. Everybody else got this shit backwards. They trying. I told you, people trying to gather to save their goddamn life from the Gentiles, from these goddamn people. But they ain't gathering because we know that this is our safe haven in Yah. This is our safe haven from saving us from ourselves. You need community to save you from you. See, guess what? Guess what that did for Brother Kevin? Excuse me. You seen a shepherd look you in your eye Friday morning. You had 2 hours to drive to work, to get to work. And this was a condition that was always on you, that you said every now and then come back on you. But then we attacked that thing right then and there. Then it's gone. And you was able to experience the Most High Yah 4 in the morning, the other morning. What does that do for you in terms of faith and pushing even further? What does that do for you when persecution comes? When people are going to lack faith, but Yah came and healed you. What does that do? See, that's what community is supposed to strengthen you physically, where you have buying power, where needs are met, where you're able to now come together with like-minded people and not be affected by the things that's going on outside because you have been empowered by the instruction of the Most High Yah in gathering, coming out. See, that should be a benefit. If you come out of her, then the benefit should be being empowered now to do things you know you couldn't do in the world, because the world is designed to eat up the lowly and the poor. Am I right?
Right.
But
It's a
then also,
grinder, man.
yeah, and also you should be empowered to be able to see Yah moving and working in and among the body, because you're gathered to his people and taken out of the world. See what I mean? To me, that sums it up. And that's always what I've strived for. And so at the end, that's what Pastor Cory desired. I desire to be in a place where needs is met and Yah is working his work, so our children see his wonders. So our children know ain't shit out there in the world, it's happening in here. And I try to put it in such a way where the children see that you in real time, you see what's happening in the world, because we go out to the world, you see it, you see what's going on, and we make it to where you can enjoy community. You ain't just cooped up and we taking away that opportunity for you to grow, but we want you to grow in righteousness. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So all that's important, to make sure that that's what's going on, so you don't lose people along the way, because you forget you was a child at once too.
Right. That's good.
That's it, bro.
Hey y'all, see a lot of y'all there in the comments. If y'all have any questions or comments, definitely put them in there. Pastor Cory, what else? What else did you have? Did you? Well, let me do this real quick, y'all. This because that video we keep alluding to. This is Pastor Cory's YouTube page here. Straitway Candace. And this is the video right here. They come up with all these advertisements on here, but let me go back. But this is the. Let me go back so y'all could see the name of the video. It's the love of Yah's law, and Pastor Cory. They put this out yesterday. Very good. Me and Sister Coyle watched it up here. We didn't catch the whole entire thing, but we caught because it was a live stream. But man, it was good what we did catch. So definitely go on there, check that out. It's a very good video. Pastor Court, did you have anything else you wanted to bring out?
Brother Mike, I just pray that we've shared here in this broadcast, something, that can serve as an aspect to help somebody else to understand how to be in community and to desire to be with Yah's people, because the world is fastly deteriorating and fading, and among the heathens is no place for the children of the Most High Yah. And I just want to leave you with that you make sure that you get an understanding on the things that were said, because, to sum it up for me, in my house, there is no other way that the people of the Most High should be living. You can't serve Yah by yourself, because there is no sharpening. You can't serve Yah just getting together with groups, because it's not going to work, because the presence and the spirit of the Most High Yah is not going to be in the midst. You have to have all of those key working components that's going to allow you to be able to physically and spiritually, be able to benefit from living in a communal setting.
That's good. That's good. All right. Look like we got some questions coming in, or a question. It says, let me hear. Somebody said, why does Straitway believe that the writings of Paul is not scripture? Could the pastor explain?
Well, it says letters. First off, it says the letters of Paul, and the Holy Scriptures was given already before Paul even existed. So that's why we say it's not scripture. Paul have used scriptures, as did Yahshua use scriptures when he said, as it was written of me. And he said the scriptures tell of me. So he even referred. So if Yahshua referred to the scriptures as scriptures, I think it behooves us to refer to the scriptures as scriptures and refer to the letters of Paul, because if you look, he was writing to the church of Corinth. That's a letter. I'm not sending scriptures to the letter of Corinth. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Someone else asks, what is the best way to start fasting for those of us that have never done it?
Well, I would say, my brother, you definitely want to start off with, because what I found in fasting, that is a covenant that you're making with the Most High, and not just something you're doing. This ain't a diet, It's a covenant, and it is an afflicting and a putting off of self for Yah to gain, and you got to look at it from that standpoint. So you got to start off with the right mindset. And so if I'm going to look at it like that, then I'm going to put myself in a position where I can attain to that. And it truly afflicts, fasting for 2 hours don't afflict. It ain't going to afflict, but fasting for a day, if you've never done it, that's going to afflict. Definitely fasting for 2 to 3 days is going to afflict. If never done it where you had nothing, then you may want to start off with, just doing, water, and juice, or, and I tell people that's really new to it, um, eat once a day, just, because you want to start building up faith and building up strength. I remember where was a time I couldn't fast for 7 days, but I fast 7 days like a champ, and it's not necessarily to see how far I can go. It's not a race. It's just, again, what what I'm fasting for.
All right. We got another question, a bunch of questions coming in now. It was, let me see, let me find that. Um, okay. What do people commonly misunderstand about polygyny in Straitway? So that's the question.
Repeat that.
He was asking, what do people commonly misunderstand about polygyny in Straitway? So I guess what do people? I get. I guess he's kind of saying, like, because here in Straitway, you look at polygyny, you can see the benefits of it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But I guess,
Mm-hmm.
because I know in a good part of the so-called Hebrew community, they don't believe in it, and they got a problem with it.
Okay,
I think he's coming from that aspect.
yeah, I'm gonna start out saying this, and I get it. So that's what I was gonna say, because I know people in Straightway believe in polygyny, but I don't know about the outside whole of the people at large. But here is the thing I want to point out. Now we looking at a major thing that's going on with the corrupting of the genetic system of creation through the deception in the arm that's taking place, right? And so I got a documentary there where a doctor was explaining, even if you start to have relations with people who have had the deception in the arm, it is definitely going to affect the baby. That's going to be passed on, and it can affect you if you haven't had it, because that's the mixing of fluids also does the change in things that pass, into the blood. You know what I mean? Uh, and this is how, I'm looking at it from this standpoint, is that now, if we have a vast majority of the people who have received the deception in the arm, who's still going to have good, clean DNA and genetics to pass on? And if so, how is the people of Yah going to continue to increase if everybody else is jacked up? We got all these people on the outside jacked up. How shall we increase? How shall we continue? Well, guess what? If I go to scripture in Isaiah 4, that's referring to these last times, and it talked about a day was going to come where one man should take hold of 7 women. That's what was Yah thinking? What was going to be needed? If I look at this, what's going on, and I look at what was already prophesied, then I'm looking at, as a man, I needed to have myself right in having a good name. I needed to have myself right to be used in a capacity where Yah will use Yah. He prophesied that where he will use my name to be able to remove a name of reproach off of, where the world has taken the daughters of Zion and the women and destroyed them, turned them into hoes. They have not been able to live, under that way of righteousness, where he's using this as a capacity to now restore. See, and that's what we look at it as. And so when I look at the whole of how polygyny is, it is not a sexual tool. It's not used for the pleasuring of sex more so than it is to restore and to be able, because if I look at and I look at some instances here, I see the position that some women were in where they may have not had a husband. You may have been by yourself. You may have had a bad situation take place, and now you have been restored because there you find that you are loved, and you're loved in a yali or godly way. You're loved in a capacity that brings you to a point, again, if we're talking about community, it puts you in a place where now this woman or this sister is able to be restored to being able to now, worship and give and be in a place of livelihood instead of that place of death where she were, because that a lot of these situations devastate some of these sisters to the point where they feel worthless. And I'm just looking at everything from that standpoint. It's the way I look at it, where I look at polygyny, like I look at my own situation. I look at how Yah has gifted me with so many talents. Yah has allowed me to be able to do much in raising up a family. But then I look at some of the sisters that's around me right now, where you are a single mom. I'm looking at what your daughter or your son is not getting. I'm looking at how your children in the same community is going to affect my children. When I'm the way I discipline, I got to discipline your children the same way, so that what your children ain't doing don't be on my children. And then I'm looking at these sisters as women on the mindset you be in when you by yourself, versus if I was your head, you wouldn't be in that mindset. See, you got it's a lot of things we got to do. If we're gonna be together as communities and be Yah's people, it's a lot of things we got to do along this journey of surviving until the kingdom come. And part of that is bringing everything under the submission of righteousness. That means men ruling in these places where they are under righteous covering, where now we don't have these contrary thoughts, these contrary ways of living. See, all of that is affected by just the book that Yah gave us. You got what I'm saying?
Right.
It ain't just a pleasure. So I don't look at it like, because for me, I put it like this, man. In the world, Mike, women, I done seen it. I don't have no desire for millions of women. I've seen in the world, like, I got to a point, Mike, I said, man, what is it? What else can you possibly do to women that ain't been done if you seeing women do all of this stuff? You understand? What else could be done? You got to start shooting them all. I mean, what else? So that ain't it. But so then you see Yah. You see in the Torah where Yah has made a statute for having other wives. Then not only that, you see where not only did he make a statute, but then he says he has established that there is going to be a day coming where a man is going to rule over not just one, but more than one. Why would Yah even put that prophecy in Isaiah's mouth if that was something that Yah wasn't going to permit, or if it was going to be something that was abusive to women?
Right.
Y'all ain't gonna abuse women. Did you understand what I'm saying? So I hope that makes sense, just on keeping it small and just pointing out a few nuggets about
right. It. All right, brother Shannon, as a pastor and a shepherd, what does it look like for you to leave the 99 to rescue the one?
Well, in essence, you attempt to, and I think we did this, and you can see where it can become costly if you don't pull out fast enough. You know what I mean? And so you have to start to, in wisdom, uh set parameters in what that looks like to be long suffering and go to whatever extent that is in trying to save people. Because I learned, man, at the end of the day, Israel stiff necked, you know, and you're not going to save everybody. You got to know that first off. You just, everybody just ain't gonna make it. Only a remnant is gonna make it. So when you keep them things in mind, then in you having the long suffering and the compassion for people, then you start to see really where people are just not helping themselves. And then it's one thing that I picked up in the book, in First Corinthians chapter 5, it said, turn such a one over to Satan that he might be saved in the end. So you got to know when to get to that point where you just turn them over to Satan, to what their desires are, and agree with the adversary quickly, that maybe in them being tormented on that side, then you can later on hear what we were saying in trying to save you. I mean, you the word says save yourself too. Remember that. You can't just go save everybody. So you do make the extent of the effort in praying and laboring with people, and in trying to extend to them all that would be lost if you make a wrong decision in leaving and forsaking this, and what the words say about knowing the commandments and turning away, and then you giving people time. But then after so long, Brother Mike, you got to know where's this starting to affect the body and the people.
Right.
If I keep going after this one. So I hope I
Right.
answered that.
All right. We got another question. It says, how did Sister Gabrielle have a home birth so that some women don't? So they want to know how she had her birth so that other sisters out there who don't want to go to the hospital don't have to. They want some clarification on that. And they said, did the man have to at birth sign the birth certificate? So.
Well, wait a minute. Let me read that again.
Yeah, I kind of paraphrased it
Yeah.
so that, but
Yeah.
they just want to know how she did it so that they can do it.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's simple. What you find out, that one key word. Remember this word, instruments. There are instruments that serve as a birth record, not birth certificate. All
Mm.
right. So, uh, in knowing, that the Bible or a witnessed document at home, along with uh, pictures and uh, time, date stamped items, and uh, having that be as a marker, like I did, with Adaya. I took pictures and it was on Facebook. You know what I mean? And then I took pictures of that. But then we also have birth certificates that we have created ourselves, that we know, that have not and it's really a certificate of live birth that we have recorded, that we have, that's a part of our congregational registry. You know what I mean? To show that the other people can attest to that these people were born on this soil and not in this soil of Missouri or wherever they was born. And that all of that makes a difference. And so you just have to, in putting together a birth plan, you have to be prepared to establish all of these things that shows that this birth did happen, like taking the weight, doing the fingerprints and the footprints. I mean, what was the size of the cranium? I mean, and different things like that all show that this was indeed a live birth that took place at home. And then having a birth plan in itself is proof of birth. and a birth record, because it shows, like, she went in labor at this time. Her water broke at this time. Baby came out at this time, was underwater at this time, or she had the baby in this position while she was squatting on the floor, and this what time the baby was weighed. So having a time frame, and then even after just recording like some um, you know live function things, like they had their first um, bowel movement here, or they had their first urination here, feedings went on at this time of night during the first 3 nights, and all those things, if that makes sense, brother Mike.
Okay.
Did
All
I
right.
ask the question?
Yep. Um, and then also real fast, just so some of the whoever was asking that, something else I just wanted to chime in is they all, as far as on the birth side, having a home birth, there are sisters in the ministry trained up to on to be what they call them, doulas, or what's the other one?
Midwives.
Midwives, yeah. So
Yeah. Yep. Actually, I think uh, to sum it up, I believe, and I'm not all the way in it. Like I said, I eat and preach. You know what I mean? But I believe Sister Gabby and Sister Erica, Elder Mitch's Ishai, um, and a few of the other sisters, Sister Jazz, and a few of the others in the community, they are uh, working some things that will be addressed in the ministry, where we can, that they can start, giving general knowledge training, and having people be in, these areas, so where people can have adequate knowledge, wisdom, and help as a whole, uh, so that these births can be more prepared and people can have more understanding as to what needs to take place when we have these home births.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Pastor Cory, man, you was coming down the middle, man. This is just another awesome interview in this series, and going through this series, starting with Pastor Dow, and then Elder Rufus, Elder Mitchell, you, Brother Daniel, like all y'all been hitting this topic from different angles, but saying the same thing, and I can just tell it's been a blessing to everybody here. Pastor Cory, I'm gonna hand it over to you for any final words you might have. So I'm gonna hand it back over to you.
Yeah, man, brother, I do want to. I know, and it's just for anybody that is, doing what they are doing for as physical fitness and that type of deal. But just with all the transitions and things that of that nature, I know we have been just having to put our focus in other areas. But I know, and I didn't send you a picture up there, but I have a fitness board up there that I have, you know, put together for all the saints here in the house where we are dwelling. And so what we have is we have, a fitness program that's laid out, that is really designed to help people start to build a healthy living habit, because that's the main thing. There's a
Right.
lot of different fitness techniques and this and that out there. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I have results, from fitness to sports performance. If I went through, I can pull up pictures of, people losing 100 pounds all the way to, folks playing professional sports. And my main thing just for the saints is I can't be right here and be a wealth of knowledge and a resource if you don't use it. And so we're starting to see some good things take place. I know in September, man, I'm going to be opening up the Trilogy app for probably about 2 weeks for people to just get in and experience what I have them experiencing, from nutrition to health. And then, they free to go, and hopefully they pick up some things that they can start incorporating on their own. And so if they're interested in doing it, they can go to trilogyexplosion.com, TRILOGY explosion, EXPLOSION.com, and just fill out the contact form and say you would like to be a part of the September program, and we'll get you in. We'll get your profile set up. You can't uh, get into the app even if you download it from Google Play Store or the Apple Store, unless you have a profile. So once you put your information in, the account managers will plug you in. And so you see it says start an online consultation. So that's where you would go. Scroll down, Brother Mike, right there. And you pick the time you want to get in to get set up, and they'll get you in there, and that lets you put all your information in so they can get you an account, and we'll go from there. And hopefully you learn something. We want to get you involved where you have an opportunity to participate in all our learning sessions. But what we do here, we take all of that goes over to the foundation side, to where we're able to do what we need to do in terms of buying land, getting the saints taken care of, taking care of the trainers at the gym. But ultimately, it's set up like that because the Most High is blessed with the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding to be able to function. And believe me, man, Yah is giving his people the knowledge and the understanding to be very viable and successful as a ministry, as a group of people. He's setting us up to where we can have the resources to be able to weather these storms that are on the horizon. And I just want to leave that, Brother Mike. I thank you for everything you're doing, just to get the message out about community, about what's taking place in the Straitway Ministries, because everybody don't really understand. It's so many versions of Hebrew Israelites. There's red, black, green, purple, and then there's versions of that. You know what I mean? And so you'll never get to where you need to be, where this message, I believe, is a sound message in this hour and in this day, for those who are truly looking to understand. I know Judah Mack was looking to get in touch with Pastor Dow, and just on this same subject about community. I'm gonna forward these series of videos to him so he can hear it for himself as well. He left a number to reach out, so I'm gonna reach out to him and see how we can get him in the right direction. And when time permits, then he'll be able to get in the right direction. But we ain't, look, man, if you ain't against us, brother, we ain't against you. We just hope you hear the true word in this day. But man, when you come out false, then be ready. Because we're gonna take a stand, and that's the way it worked here in the Straitway Ministries. This is the University of Painful Truth with Pastor Charles Dow, and you heard it. Let's go.
All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed this interview with Pastor Cory. And like I said, we are continuing our series, the Straitway Life series. Definitely go over there, check out Trilogy Sports and Fitness, and also check out Straitway KC. Check out Pastor Cory's page. We're going to be continuing this series with Kabir. I had reached out to Kabir. Kabir is very busy, as you know. Him and Pastor and some of the elders went up to Seattle or Oregon or somewhere up in the Northwest, and so Kabir was busy. So I went to Pastor Cory, and so probably around maybe the 5th, I think I'm supposed to be interviewing Kabir. I got to put it on his schedule somehow. I got to get with him because I wasn't able to put it on his calendar. He sent me a link, but he should be the next interview. And I'm telling you, y'all, study these, and because I'm telling you, I'm very busy. Like, I got up early. We were working on cars all this morning. Soon as this is done, we got to head out and we got to go do our business work with our business we have. And these interviews and all this spiritual combat stuff is gonna wind down here for a while after once this series is complete. So I want y'all to get the most out of it, because I got to redirect my time. I know Pastor Cory is he's in the same mode I'm in. I know all the leaders I've talked to in Straitway are pushing hard, following the example set before them. Um, so definitely take full advantage of these. Get involved with them, study them, watch them. Go to the different pages. Follow, check out Pastor Dow's teaching, Straitway Ministries, and yeah, man, it's that time, it's that season, man. Y'all can look, you can watch the news, you see what's going on, you see what's coming. Use some wisdom. All right. Well, anyway, y'all, with that said, I appreciate all y'all tuning in. I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate Pastor Cory taking the time to come on here and just bless us with some righteous wisdom. And with that said, y'all, I appreciate all y'all, and shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.